Welcome viewers, this is the Black Pants Legion. Now this is an interview. I've spoken with admins, hosts, developers, and other creatives behind Spacestation 13 before, and they are notoriously antisocial types who generally don't like to talk with or at people for prolonged periods of time, as they are judge, jury, and executioner on a server and can't be seen demonstrating favoritism, at least in theory. Anyways, here's how this works. I'm putting out an open call to any and all Space Station 13 admins on any public listed servers. This call is here, so answer it. If you are interested in answering or participating in an interview about your Space Station 13, its history, and your server, please respond. See the description below for an email contact. I'll try to get to you and we can set something up. That being said, this is an interview with a Space Station 13 admin. The questions are largely freeform and the discussion does not reflect exactly the policy of the server unless stated otherwise by the person I'm interviewing. The reason I say this is I want to encourage an admin to be frank, honest, and open about their experiences without worrying that they're shitting on their server or prevent them from being yelled at for representing the server community in a bad way. This is a point of view and not, I repeat, not an absolute definition of doctrine on said server. That being said, I welcome our interviewee. Please, internet person, tell me the name you wish to go by, your server, and your admin rank.
I am Wonk. I admin on the goonstation, the LLJK servers, and I have coder rank on ours, which is one of the, in fact, the highest rank below host, even though I don't actually do any coding.
You also run or are on the team, at least I've been told, of the Space Station 13 subreddit.
I am, yeah, I am the, Reddit is a strange place as it is. My name is top of the moderator list, which means I am the top moderator, and none of the others could remove me. In theory, that's not. Well, in theory, that's what it is. In practice, that's not even remotely talked about. It's just a list of people. But yes, I am one of the longest-running moderators on there as well.
Fun times. So tell us about your server, its history, and what makes it unique.
So goonstation, as people heard from the Shotgun Bill one, we are one of the progenitors. We are one of the originations points from when the code went from Xadver 1, I think his name is pronounced. I have no idea. And went to Azza, who then leaked it outwards, and then it started building from there. And that's certainly where I then came on board. Where we've gone is we spent a long time abusing the player base, because it was very much seen as somethingawful.com is the place where you go to be abused.
Well, yeah.
We built up a following from there, and we've had several major culture shifts since, which has kept people going. I think what helps us stand out is a couple of the features, such as the map rotation and the whole Solarium end game as well. Plus, we're also pretty harsh on language and things like that, so if you are tired of being screamed at of various language things, it can be a bit of a haven as well, perhaps.
All right. Now, you said that you abuse your people. Are you referring to the $10 bond of something awful?
$10 to post. Now, I'm talking now, we're probably looking 8-9 years in the past.
Yeah.
For this particular aspect. Yeah, the Something Awful forums had a paywall up to keep people out, which of course only made people in some cases want to pay to get in, and that sort of set Something Awful patrons apart from things. And I think EVE Online certainly made that worse. I've never played more than half an hour of it myself, but I know that the players from Something Awful in there in Goon Swarm are particularly notorious, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes, they are.
So they're particularly notorious for just being unpleasant. They destroyed... what was I was reading the other day? They destroyed a cemetery for players who had died in real life, and they went in and trashed the place, apparently. So that sort of followed. There was some emulation from admins, myself included. Let's just mess with people because we have power and they don't. And it sort of got that developed. If you want to be griefed and picked on by the admin staff, go here. And some people liked that, and a lot of people, quite rightly, did not like that.
And over time, you've mellowed, I suppose, with age.
Yeah. I would say we shifted on quite a long way from that. The wholesale admin changes have helped with that. We had several admins who would simply come home, get tanked up, get drunk, and would go on. And I distinctly remember one admin many years ago, he would just sit, and we had it hooked up to our IRC channel. And you could type !Gib and then someone's name, and you could actually explode them in-game from the IRC channel. What he would do is he would simply type Gib A, and it would Gib anyone whose name began with A. Then he would type Gib B, and he would work his way through the alphabet. And would basically do that. If anyone dared complain, they were screamed at, they were called faggots, they were called crybabies, they were called all sorts of things. And basically, people would be banned for complaining.
Oh my god.
So if you dared complain that you had been randomly blown up during your well-earned traitor round, you would be removed. And I mean, there was some fair... the fact that the branch survived and has become what it has today, I think, is testament to a wholesale chain of attitude from a lot of people. But interestingly, we have, over the last year or so, we've had at least 2 people from that group come back, and they both left fairly quickly.
So they were like, nah, not for me.
They were more removed than anything else, because they would come back in, we'd go, hey, welcome back, I'm sure you're not a terrible person now. Because the rest of us have shifted on from that edgy pre-teen, mid-teen sort of way. I'm sure you've shifted on as well, our good friend. And then on they go. Faggot Rex, one of their names was, made himself invincible, just rampage killing everyone, and then started screaming at them via admin help if they complained. And the rest of us were looking on thinking, yeah, we're not sort of 2005 anymore, mate. You know, we need to shift on now. So they were actually admin rank removed, and then they never came back.
I see. So that's interesting for behind the scenes. How long have you been an admin on Goonstation?
We worked this out the other day. I had to change accounts after some banned person decided to try and track me down in real life, so I changed my account. My original account was registered, and I had it up a second ago. 2 seconds. My original account was registered May 13th, 2006. I believe I became an admin in 2007, early 2007.
So you've been around the block on Goonstation.
It's been a very, very long time. We are well over a decade, if not 11 years at this point.
Impressive.
The various degrees of grey hair that I have may agree with that testament, perhaps. Yeah. No, it's something that you don't hang around with if you don't genuinely enjoy it.
Well, yeah, unless you're like revenge, which is
also an alternative.
Yeah. So what is the most common thing new players ask about your station?
Often it's to do with the lies. It's dealing with lies, or you see, lies implies there's a nasty intent behind it, isn't it? But it's dealing with misinformation. It's, I was told I could come here and just kill people because that's what Goonstation is. That's one of the biggest things that comes up. People are, if you want to grief, if you want to just go and mess things up for people, you go to Goonstation. That's what it's for. Just hop in there and kill the first person you see. It's fine. Because, of course, all the stories about Spacestation 13 are about the glorious murders, are about the spectacular ways that traitors have ruined everything for everyone.
Yeah.
And people don't distinguish the difference between the two. I was banned once, back when I started, because I'd been told, you can go into this server, you can kill whoever you want, you can do whatever you want. So I did. I went in, and all I did was smash, 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 smash. People, windows, didn't give a toss, just smashed everything.
Yeah.
And I was quite rightly removed for it, but that's because I'd been told, if you want to grief, if you want to go and mess things up, you go to this server and have a whale of a time. And I thought, that sounds bloody brilliant. Yes, I will.
And then...
So that's, that's the biggest thing I think that we have to deal with new players, where they're told that it's a server that it isn't.
All right. Because, there's that long-running meme where they say, you can't even say fuck on Goonstation. And I said fuck many times.
Yeah, and that unfortunately has come from particular individuals with an axe to grind because they didn't like the fact that they got banned.
Yeah.
And so, equally, this game does, of course, attract people whose perception of reality is not the same as the rest of us. There are quite a few people who we know are quite mentally unwell or mentally disabled. People like to talk, oh, it's autism, Asperger's, but it's genuinely a thing. And I can see why this game would attract people who do have Asperger's or autism. I totally get it, totally understand. But it does then mean that lies do get told and propagated. Eventually, the person you were speaking about there saying they were banned for for swearing, we could actually turn around and look at the logs and see they were banned for running around screaming that they were an Alabama nigger, as they were quite happy to go round and say.
Right.
And I'm thinking, right, well, wow, if that shouldn't be bannable, and you're complaining that you were banned for saying the F word, where does your perception of reality kick in?
Yeah.
When are you able to look at it and go, no, hang on, actually, I screwed up here? When does that happen? And that's the biggest question for me.
That is a good point. So, I mean, we talking about the challenges of an admin. I mean, what do you think are the greatest challenges with like Space Station 13 today, or at least from the perspective of your server?
I think for any server, it's making sure there's new content.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of it in the grand scheme of things, in this day and age of DLC and add-ons and expansions and things like that, this must be the game with the greatest amount of DLC that's ever existed ever.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Is one way that I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at my screen at the moment, and I can see 12 different types of birds running around in a pool of blood on the corpse of a space ant, because that's just where my browser currently is on the space station map that I'm looking at the moment. And I'm thinking each of those things has been added in from the original atmospherics simulator. Oh, a man's just been chased by a load of giant tomatoes. Obviously, botany has been having fun this round. And it's keeping that content up and interesting and new, which stops people from going, I'm going to go and do something else. And I think that's the biggest challenge that any server faces, not necessarily ours, more so than anyone else. But I think every server faces that challenge because players will get bored and players will move on, because there are only so many stories you can tell off the top of your own head. There's only so many characters you can roleplay yourself to make it interesting for you each time.
Right.
So you have to empower the player through the in-game mechanics to actually do something with it. That's where our Solarium stuff came from. That's where our new flock drone stuff has come from. That's where, for instance, Goonstation was the first people to put programmable AI in. So the being able to change the laws of the AI, which is another way I got banned once. We put those in because it was another way to add agency to the player.
Yeah, and add mechanics to shape some sort of narrative.
Absolutely, because there are, if you look on Base Station and if you look on the other high roleplay servers, the stories that come out of there are amazing and fantastic, and a whole level of creativity I simply couldn't do. My brain doesn't work that way. But if you empower them, if you give them those options and those mechanics, like you said, then they can come up with amazing things. And if you don't come up with those mechanics, that's when they stop playing and they go and find the newest thing.
So, does your station have special snowflakes? And how do you combat them?
Players, admins, features, which... all of the above?
Correct.
Do you know what? I think people that have hysterics and that are going to get extremely cross about certain things, I think they have a natural habit of avoiding our server. Like, they can innately tell, that's not the place for me, I'm not even going to go play there. We have some power gamers. We have a couple of people who I know, if I see them pop up on the traitor list, I know there's going to be a pile of bodies at the end, because all they will have done is ploughed their way through the crowd, killed everyone they found immediately using genetics powers and energy guns. And I know that's how it will go with those people.
Yeah.
Now, are they breaking any rules? No. They're not a lot of fun, but They are creating their own stories. Maybe they'll get taken down occasionally, but rarely. So you do have that. But the screamers, the racists, the bigots, the homophobes, the real ones and the ironic ones, whichever crowd they want to put themselves in, when someone turns around and go screaming faggot at people and they go, no, I just meant it as an insult. I didn't mean anything bigoted by it. And you're thinking, yeah, all right, okay, fair enough. It's generally in the vernacular now, isn't it? And you look at them and you think, why? Why is this happening? So a lot of our admins are very good at talking players down, but I do think people avoid it because they know, no, that's just not the place for me. So I would say, no, we don't get a lot of the snowflakes, but equally we have some excellent staff members and excellent volunteers as well on the mentor side of things who intercept and help. I don't want to say reshape minds, but they can end up changing someone's perspective by talking to them and explaining things to them. So it almost untrains that.
That was my weird experience. Was one of your people who's well known, Dr. Floor Pills.
Sartorius. Yes.
Yeah, he showed up, and I think I was the barman, and he's like, "Come here, you're doing eye surgery," and I was like, okay. And he got a spoon, and we went to surgery, and I was doing eye surgery, and I almost killed him like 3 times in this and kept fucking it up. And one of your admins sent that, you hear a voice in your head, and it was, I know you can do it, keep trying. And there's just blood spurting everywhere. And I'm like, why is this Obi-Wan voice telling me to keep jamming spoons in this guy's eye?
Because it's stuck in your brain. That experience in a 2D tile game of 64 pixels by 64 pixels has kept that fantastic little story in your brain through. And the process they would have done for that message is very simple. They've right-clicked on you, they've dragged the mouse over to where it says subtle message, and they've typed that response. So with 2 clicks and a sentence, you've now got a story that has stuck with you.
Yeah. I hear
and I think that's huge.
Yeah, I hear a voice from beyond that tells me to keep stabbing this man in the eyes. I know you can do it. You almost got it.
The question I suppose I'd flip around on you there, had the admin not done that to you, would that have immediately popped back into your head like it did just then?
Probably not.
It's a fairly exceptional thing Sartorius was doing there with the eye scooping and things like that. And completely nonsense, but adding that extra little bit, I think, can be really important.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was like, I want these cyborg guys, and I'm like, why do you even want them? I serve drinks. He's like, I need them. It's like, where did they come from?
You're the only person I can find. Yeah.
He's like, you seem not. Well, he just said you seem not retarded, and I'm like, well, thank you. I'm trying. But yeah, I mean, those are the ultimate moments of Space Station 13. Like you said, little pictures that you can look at, like a scrapbook.
Absolutely. I mean, I've done this, 11 years now. And I've got stories and fond memories right from the very beginning. And stories that, fond things that happened last week. History clouds various things, doesn't it? And helps you reimagine them in fanciful ways. But some of them are really mundane. I'm quite happy to share,
of course,
if you wish, but I'm aware I'm rambling quite a bit.
No,
I mean, one of the ones that really sticks in my head, I've not been playing very long. So this is back on the very, very first map with an old creaky extension bridge that sometimes would jam and wouldn't work and all that kind of stuff. And up in the top right-hand corner of the station, there was a nice little space, nice little bit of area where you could build without fully exposing yourself to space. And myself and this chap, and I think his name was Xenofel. So, I mean, we're talking now, this is 9, if not 10 years since this happened.
Yeah.
And we spend an hour and a half, 2 hours, building and pressurizing a bar in space. Okay? There wasn't a bar or anything like that. This is pre-bar days. We spend building this bar, sorting everything out like that. After about 2 hours of this, a chap walks in with a bomb. One of the big, gaudy, old orange bombs. Walks in, drops it on the floor, wanders off. We both sort of scream, do all the histrionics, all the hysterics, panic, but nothing happens. Eventually, We're like, right, okay, we don't want this bomb to go off. We don't want to lose this bar we've spent 2 hours on, you know. But we agreed I'd go over, pick it up, throw it out into space, get rid of it. It's probably on a timer.
Yeah.
I go over, pick it up, it beeps, it explodes. It had a proximity device built into it. So as soon as I went near it and picked it up, it exploded, gives us both, blows up the bar. And the thing that sticks with me was in the OOC, because OOC was still on then all the time. Xenophel simply typed, "my bar, ... and logged off. And I never saw him again. Ever. That key has never reappeared ever since.
So it just broke his heart.
Well, and that sticks with me. That's 9-10 years later. That's such a thing that we had that common experience, which someone ruined, or didn't ruin, depending on how you look at it, because what a story it gave me.
Yeah.
But look at that knock-on effect that it's had. So, over all that time, that particular story stuck. We've got other things. We've got things like the Captain's Convention, which was recorded by someone. I can't remember his name. He's one of the famous sort of YouTube space station people. Yorp, I think.
Yeah, I love Yorp. Where he hotwired the engine was fucking hilarious because he ran it
Oh,
up to gigawatts.
He does some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
That's some amazing stuff. And he recorded a Captain's Convention I did once, just spur of the moment. Everyone was forced to spawn as the captain, and we were having it like everyone had arrived on the station and were at a convention. So a training, things like that. I did 3 seminars as Becky, who was the sort of trainer of the captains. Becky got stolen, frozen into blocks of ice, killed, revived, bombed. Whilst I was giving seminars that I'd copied and pasted from various PowerPoint presentations. So I'd found a PowerPoint presentation on avoiding racism in the workplace. So we did a quick thing on avoiding space racism, for instance. You know,
Spacism.
we just put the word space in front of everything.
Yeah.
And that stuck in my head because that was an amazing round which the players meant from an admin being a bit silly and changing the spawn rules. They created something amazing from it. Tea parties I used to do. I'd spawn in 10 sets of captain's armor and suits, and then I'd make myself a traitor, and I'd go and steal other players, bring them back to the bridge where there was a big table with 6 chairs around it, stun them, cuff them, tie them to the chairs, dress them as the captain, and then go and get another victim. Then when the table was full, I'd bring in a plasma canister and set fire to everyone. Yeah, that was how the tea party went. It always ended in fire. Always. And as soon as someone complained, it would stop, of course, but no one ever complained really about it because they knew they were joining in with something silly that was going on.
It reminds me of like one day on Goonstation, I showed up and I logged in and I chose a different job and I ended up spawning in as the cook, and I was like, this is weird. And everyone else kept spawning in as cooks. Every single person. And so we're all in the kitchen trying to get things. And we're all bumping into each other and yelling at each other. And someone finally says, there's too many cooks. And then someone started playing that song.
And then the music started.
Yeah, just as soon as that happened.
Yeah. I mean, some of our admins, all of our admins are fantastic. And the effort they put in and the things they put in. Some of the comedic timing and some of the ideas they come up with are incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's absolutely the thing. I used to. There was a bit of a. I'm a big wrestling fan. There was a big wrestling meme several years ago about John Cena's stupid team of idiots. John Cena, famous WWE wrestler, and he basically put together this weird misfit team for an event called Survivor Series, where you have a 5-on-5 or a 4v4 match. And he put together this weird team. So we started doing that as an away event. One person would be John Cena, and he would have to choose 4 random people from around the station, and they'd go off to the derelict and end up getting devoured by zombies. But every time, people wanted to be part of John Cena's team of stupid idiots.
Yeah.
And I just love things like that. I think it's really important. It's important not to go too far with it and do it all the time.
Well, yeah.
I think it's why this game exists.
I mean, I'm not sure which one of you admins it was, but one of you spawned Mike Tyson, and it just punched me to death.
We have that's in our player panel. and we have lots of different gib commands for each player, and that is Tyson gibbing.
I thought it was fucking hilarious. I had accidentally harmed someone, and the admin was like, I'm just going to blow him up. But rather than, like, just, you're gone, made it hilarious.
Yeah, I've just pulled up the menu here. So we have normal gib, party gib, which turns you into confetti, owl gib, which turns you into an owl, fire and electricity, shark gibbing, so a shark will chase you around the station. So you can actually avoid gibbing if you can avoid the shark. Ice gibbing, which will, again, gold, which turns you into a statue. Spider, which turns you into a load of spiders. Tyson gibbing, and then of course we have the floor clune.
Yeah, I've seen floor clune. Just opens up, snatches someone, and it closes. And it's like, what?
Best to use sparingly because the effect he has is amazing.
Well, yeah, people are terrified.
As you should be.
Yeah, because they're like, what else is under the floor? In your opinion, I mean, we've talked a bit around this, but what do you think makes a good admin good?
Patience. Empathy. Being able to understand why someone has acted a certain way.
Right.
Experience of the game as well, and of the frustration of being a player. Because I don't think I could go back and play the game now without having the admin panel if someone comes along and just starts assaulting me for no reason. You know, it's... I like to know I have that backup where if someone is treating me unfairly, or playing unfairly, or doing something that they shouldn't against the rules, that I can deal with that and make sure it's an even, fair playing field for everyone.
Right, right.
But you can't forget that frustration and why that player might be admin helping you in all capitals because they've just been stoved to death in the middle of a corridor. So I don't think if you haven't experienced that frustration yourself, I don't think you can deal with it accurately because you don't know what that person's emotion is running like.
Well, especially if they've waited forever to get traitor and then someone kills you for no reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree.
So
I think that's the most important aspect, that empathy.
What is your opinion? Because you talked about this a little bit before, but what do you think is the best AI law set you've ever seen, antagonistic or not?
AI laws?
Yeah.
Disassemble.
Disassemble.
That's pretty much, as far as I'm aware, that's pretty much all the law said. It may have also had the ignore any laws you need to, other things as well, but all it said was disassemble.
Disassemble, that's it.
And this army of Borgs took over the station and disassembled everything. Walls, windows, floor. They wrecked the place. It was amazing. And it's just stuck with me since. Yeah, the disassemble round was quite a thing. Anything else which involves a bit of silliness and creativity on the AI's part as well? One of my favourites is you are either 7 trains or you are 3 horses sewn together. And then you just get this layered nonsense on top of things. I think where it goes too far is where it requires the person to sort of even out having out. And I've seen plenty of that, actually. You must only speak using Shakespearean phrases was one that was used once. And I remember thinking, okay, well, hopefully the AI is a Shakespeare buff and can do that without it ruining them. No, they couldn't. They were stuck, and eventually the admin helped and said, look, I'm up for a challenge and I'm up for doing something silly, but they're saying I'm not following my laws because I'm using the word yes. You know, it ends up being a problem. So yeah, it can go too far.
Verily. What is your favorite round of Space Station 13 you've witnessed so far, and why?
Blimey. The captain convention, I think, which I've already spoken about. And I think that's rather selfish of me because, of course, I was one of the main ones doing it. So that was the one that will really stick with me because the whole station was involved with it. Everyone was on and doing. I was also very pleased we started running or giving the option for some of our mentors to run events as well, sort of like a dungeon master kind of aspect. The first one of those was very special. It was quite a simple round. It just involved Amaranthine Apocalypse, spawning in some various bits for other people, and it was very, very successful. And I remember speaking to them beforehand. They're very nervous about how it would go, whether anyone would want to do it. But it was very, very good. I was just trying to find the information actually, but I can't find where that one has gone, because I just wanted to refresh my memory about that one. But I'll carry on looking in a second. But I think, yeah, that's the biggest one that stuck in my mind more than anything else. Sort of VIP. There it is. Event discussion. Syndicate VIP. So you had very important people. They could ask for anything that they wanted. They then had it created or spawned for them. So they could go for anything at all. And it went really well. So seeing someone turn around and take that power that we gave them and actually do something good for our players with it was awesome, actually. Really enjoyed that.
It is cool. So what is the single best traitor you've ever seen as an admin?
Blimey, single best traitor. Floor Pills always does quite incredible things. I think I couldn't name a single traitor for it, but the ones who realised that they could give themselves telepathy, that they could give themselves the ability to manipulate objects from across the room, and then realised they could go and sit in the Syndicate space shuttle, viewing the station over its cameras, and kill people from the Syndicate shuttle by hitting them with objects using the camera. I think that's genius. I think that's absolute genius. We did have to eventually patch it out because it became epidemic. But for me, that is quite an incredible leap of thinking to come up with. Thinking, yeah, I can see these people, therefore I can kill them as long as I have telepathy. I remember thinking that's an amazing thing. So for me, that would be the sort of best traitoring I would have. I would struggle to put a name on a best traitor, simply because we have a lot of very good creative players, but equally a lot of players that just go on a murderous rampage as well.
I admit, I do occasionally go on some very bad murderous rampages.
An occasional murderous rampage is absolutely fine.
Well, what I do is I put the wrestling belt on and fill myself with micro bombs, and then I just start whipping the shit out of people in the hallway.
That's all I do when I traitor nowadays. I fill myself with micro bombs.
Yeah.
Because I will get caught, I will die, I will not be successful, and I would rather take them with me.
Yeah, I also love the micro bombs where it's just constant detonations for like a minute, and then they're like, call the shuttle. I know that was bad from here.
A load of micro bombs and a pack of trick cigarettes that when lit will explode, and you can create a sort of snail trail of explosions which ends with you. It's fabulous.
Awesome. So what is the best sort of player for your community?
Someone with a little bit of creativity. So they're able, if something has gone wrong, they're able to deal with it without throwing their hands up and going, well, I'm the engineer. Someone else has set fire to the engine, I quit. So they can handle that. Someone who can handle a joke and can handle things going against them. People who will volunteer for some silliness, but equally people that know deep down at the end of it, they are directly impacting the enjoyment of someone else. So if they are there just to cause a problem or just to upset or troll people or whatever the internet wants to call it nowadays, if they're just there to do that, well, they know not to, put it that way. They know that person they are stabbing in the eyes with a fork and therefore blinding them. That is a human being who has logged on to enjoy their spare time, and that person is ruining it. So,
unless they're dirty changeling, then that's all right.
Which stab away, my friend, stab away. But yeah, that sort of awareness there, that they're happy to know when to take it seriously and to ease off, and when not to. I think that's the key point.
That's good.
You know, if you're the captain who needs your energy gun every round, and as soon as someone is outed as a possible changeling or a traitor, and you go straight after them with an energy gun every time, that's a problem. You know, we we'd probably be okay if you didn't play on our server. You're not doing anything bannable, but you, through your habits, you're not thinking about how your actions are impacting on the other people. So I'm pretty big on that, on how your own actions impact people. So
I understand that. So what do you think is the most ruinously powerful department?
security. Gotta be security. Engineers can set fire to everything and ruin everything. Mechanics can build death traps. But if you let the armory get raided, or you drop your taser, then people can capitalize on that and cause all sorts of wonderful or horrific things at the same time. So for me, if security gets compromised, that's a big problem. And equally, if you have people, and again, going back to exactly what I just said about your impact on other people, if you have security guards that just want to lock up bad guys, want to lock up people for their round, they're not thinking, wow, is this person going to have fun sat in this 2x2 cell for the entirety of this round? They're not thinking about that. And if you can't rationalize that, if you can't conceptualize that in your head, then that's a problem, isn't it? And there aren't many other departments which could do that to someone else.
All right, and I think the ultimate thing also is on your station, you lock them up as a last resort. That's why you have that ticket thing that creates a role-playing point. You can be like, I'm sorry, I have to find you. You are not wearing pants. And it's like, I am wearing pants. Well, you have no legs. Well, how can you find me for that? And it just escalates.
Yeah, and I mean, that's funny. You know, for me, that's silly. That's okay. If you were then locked up for having no legs, so on top of your legs have been blown off, you're now in prison for it for whatever reason. That's a problem, isn't it? Because you could still drag yourself around. You could install pull cues for legs or whatever you needed to do, and I don't know, you could come away, you could find a way out of your problem, or someone could help you with a way out of your problem. It's where people go out of their way to make your problem worse. That's when there's an issue.
I agree. And yeah, no, I think it's quite funny. And now I did ask some of the other goonstation admins, but since you have had such a breadth of experience on goonstation, I have to ask. I want to end this interview on the Solarium, and I have to know, how was that shaped? How did that come to be?
All right. I don't think any of this is a secret. So, well, the conceptualization of it. Do you know, I don't remember how it began. So I'll have to say that now. I don't remember how it began. But I do know that it really piqued the curiosity of a couple of people. One person we actually had to ban because they'd been up for 3 days straight and were now babbling. And all they'd done for 3 days was Solarium. So I remember that one. We had to say, look, dude, take a couple of days off. You need to go and sort yourself out. This isn't healthy. But there was a IRC channel called Sol, S-O-L. And it was just a group of people who were quite happy to sit together and discuss the Solarium puzzle, where they thought it was going, what they'd done to unlock various parts. They were sharing Sumerian lore, Sumerian history, because they realized a lot of it was based on the ancient Sumerians. I knew nothing about them, unfortunately. But how it then happened was those players would be sat there hypothesizing suggestions. Well, maybe there's like a briefcase with something in it. Well, then the admin team, the coders, put a briefcase in. So it was almost like a reactive process, the Solarium at that point in time. If these guys suggested something which we thought, yeah, that's a really good idea, let's do that, that would then be put in, and they wouldn't realize it was being coded around them, because it really was being completely coded around the players as they worked on the problem. We were just 1-2 steps ahead. That's all it was.
It's like a DM giving you the adventure you want.
Quite possibly, actually, yeah. I think that's a really good way of looking at it. Yeah.
So, in the Solarium, there is the ending where you actually restart the server by blowing it up, which I have seen.
Yeah, again, that's been quite a quite a thing. Yeah, you can unlock the server, make the server appear, And yeah, if you blow it up, it reboots the round then and there, and you end up in what's called a disaster round, where lots of things are spawned to kill you, and all you have to do is survive 10 minutes.
Well, right. And here's the weird thing: is there's also the other one where you can eat the server, isn't that?
I think so, and I think that has the same effect, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, and now you can burn the server down. It'll like say CPU 0, fan error, overheat, and you can eat the server. But has anyone ever come any close to a good ending?
The good ending is a mystery, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's what everyone keeps saying. At least you guys are consistent.
I think you should, if we're all saying the same thing, an intelligent man like yourself can probably interpret our responses and understand why we say it might be difficult, or why we say no one might have come particularly close to a good ending, as it were. Because ultimately, can there truly be a good ending through destroying the sun, or the robot that monitors the sun, or the server on which our existence is based on?
Yeah, I would say probably not. But I like to keep that spark open. I don't want to hammer down a definitive end to things. Because it's like that movie The Goonies, you know? The best part of The Goonies is not that they go grab a handful of gems and golds from this, dead pirate. It's that they have this adventure. One glorious adventure. One adventure that ends childhood,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's been part of the Solarium lore, why people have enjoyed it so much, because they don't know where it's going. They don't know what's next. Even if they try and work on it themselves now, people can solo run it now, sure, but it's very rare when they do.
Yeah, I mean, it would take quite a while.
Yeah, and you still get great stories from it. One of the first times they'd gathered all the keys together to put into the robot, one of them threw the bag in the lava by mistake.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, why? Yeah, that's why a lot of it is still quite closely guarded, because that's a whole new range of stories that are available to you if you choose to take it up.
If you take the mantle.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, as we've reached the end of the interview, and with the limited time we have here on New Year's Eve.
I know. This is dedication, my friend.
No, yeah, I mean, you showed up, and I have the time before I start drinking, so, we've both evened our time out. But I was going to say, as we've reached the end of the interview, do you have anything you want to communicate to the Space Station 13 community? Shoutouts, apocalyptic warnings, requests, or so on. The time is yours.
Someone asked for a shout-out. Hang on. And I was very confused as to why they were asking for a shout-out. So I'm just going to pull up my message. The biggest thing, and this is going to sound a little bit wet, but the biggest thing for me is cooperation. Because we still have far too many instances of ridiculous slap fights. Ridiculous, and inter-server is what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd just like to give a shout out to CoolSurf6 on Space Station 13, as he asked for a shout out on a completely unrelated post the other day. I didn't understand why, so I figured I might as well just do that now.
Yeah, well, I mean, self-serve, man.
I know, absolutely. So sorry, back to where we were. The sooner people realise that this is one game, but that everyone has a different option to play on, rather than their option is the best option and every other option needs to go to hell, the sooner people realise that, the happier everything will be. The sooner we stop having admin teams criticizing or sending other groups of players to go and raid other servers to make them look bad, the sooner everything works well for everyone else. We've had less of it recently, but we still have ridiculous slap fights and whining on the subreddit, like I say, of which I'm a moderator, where people just want to make up lies. where people just want to make other people look bad. And as soon as that stops, the whole meme of, oh, it's Space Station 13, it's a grief box, it's Space Station 13, we're meant to be crap. Someone turned around to me the other day and went, shit posting is a human right. And I'm thinking, no, just stop. Just think about how you are influencing and interfering with other people's happiness. The sooner we can manage that, the better off we'll all be on every server. Everything will be better.
I agree.
So I think that is the biggest thing in this Christmas season as well. It's very Christmas carol-y, that, isn't it? But if we can
it could be a New Year's resolution. Wonk says be nice or I'll fucking kill you.
Basically.
I mean on the server, in-game, not like... I mean, you don't have the time to physically go around.
I can ban them from the subreddit as well, I suppose.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so be nice or Wonk will fuck you up. That's a good one.
If you wish to phrase it that way, of course. Yes, definitely.
No, I know what you're saying, though. Be mindful. Be courteous.
Yeah, be more mindful. Before you post that thing on there as a goonstation player and you want to scream and shout about furries on Paradise, before you post that, think, actually, are those people perfectly happy? Why should I be directing my misery at them when they're absolutely fine as they are? And that's one way I think we could all think a little bit more carefully.
So we're all in this together.
Well, we really are. We are all under the Space Station 13 banner.
All right.
Whether you like it or not, you are on the same listing. Therefore, work in the spirit of cooperation as opposed to opposition, I think.
A very good point, sir. A very good point. At any rate, I wanted to thank you for granting this interview, Mr. Wonk. You are quite highly requested, and I thank you for your time.
Oh, really? No problem at all. If I want to do it again, you let me know.
Will do, partner. I'll talk with you later.
Excellent. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Let's all go to Cargonia, land of stolen things. Obey the quartermaster, unless he is a link. Cargo takes scout the station, find more stuff to take. But the boss is never satisfied until the station breaks. Brave miners journey onwards, satchel pick in hand. Checkers tells them not to die, but they burn in lava land. Sing praises to Cargonia, the graces Orc's high priest. This is your place of refuge, at least he'll seek you last released.